Hi everyone, so today's video is about affordable ethical fashion. I know that price is a big issue when it comes to shopping more consciously, and that's because sustainable and ethical fashion is more expensive. Before we get into some of the different options, I want to talk about why it's more expensive, because the brands aren't just deciding to charge more. There are a lot of different factors that go into it. For example, sustainable materials tend to cost more. They're often natural materials, so they're generally farmed in a way that's certified organic, which has costs associated with it, and farmed in a way that pays the workers fairly for their work and their products. Whereas cheaper materials like polyester are synthetic, they're made from petrochemicals. There are a lot of environmental issues around making them and also disposing of them, but they're very cheap to make. And then there are expenses around worker pay. A garment worker that is paid fairly for the work they do means that the garment is going to cost more. This is a cost breakdown of a polo shirt that was made in Bangladesh. And as you can see, labor accounts for 12 cents. When you think about everything that goes into making a shirt, from growing the cotton, harvesting it, spinning it, dyeing it, turning it into fabric, cutting the fabric, sewing it, transporting it back and forth to multiple countries, and then it getting into the store, it just seems kind of crazy that that can be done so cheaply. And then you start to think about who's actually paying those costs. If you're not paying it as a consumer, who else is paying it? Or is the planet paying for it? But now there's the question, how do you shop in alignment with your values without blowing your budget? And there are a few different ways that you can build a conscious wardrobe that's still affordable. The best way to shop, and if you've watched other videos on my channel, you probably know what I'm gonna say, is to shop secondhand. It not only is really affordable, but it's incredibly sustainable. You're not creating anything new, you're preventing something from going into the landfill, and you can still have the brands that you know and like without supporting any of their unethical practices. A lot of places have thrift stores, charity shops, vintage shops, and consignment stores, which are great to get secondhand clothes. You can also look into swapping events in your city, and there are swapping and trading groups online as well. There's also online sites like Depop, eBay, ThredUp. I'll include more links to other secondhand websites and resources down below. Shopping online can be a great way to find clothes if you're looking for something specific, because you can search for the brand or the style. And it's also really great if you maybe don't have good thrift stores or secondhand stores in your area. There are also stores which sell ethical brands secondhand. For example, there's Green Eileen, which sells secondhand Eileen Fisher pieces, which I think is amazing because I love what Eileen Fisher is doing, but I cannot afford their clothes, so it's wonderful to have a secondhand option. Beat and Real also has their Rescued collection where they sell secondhand ethical and vegan brands. There's also Love Justly, which I've talked about briefly before, and they sell overstock and past season items from ethical and sustainable brands. And I'm so excited that they exist because to me that really shows that ethical and sustainable fashion is growing, and there's now a place for business models like that in the industry. It's a great way to get new pieces and still support brands, but at a discount. And of course, there's also sales, and there are some brands like People Tree where they do a big sample sale. I think they maybe do it twice a year, but I'm not totally sure, where they clear out all of their excess stock and you can get some really good discounts. For me, minimalism and having a capsule wardrobe has helped me so much with being able to actually afford the brands and products that I want. I am not working with a big clothing budget at all, and only buying a few pieces, maybe a couple pieces or maybe even just one piece a season, allows me to spend more money on that piece instead of buying a bunch of fast fashion cheap pieces. So changing my shopping habits to investing in quality over quantity allowed me to then buy pieces that actually last, are good quality, and support the brands that I really like. And I've talked about this in another video, which I can link in the cards. I try to balance buying from conscious brands and also shopping secondhand, and that allows me to spend a bit more on maybe a piece or two from a conscious brand, and then anything else I need, I will buy secondhand, and that works well for my budget. Of course, it depends on your situation and your budget and your needs, but there definitely are ways to have a more conscious closet without spending a ton of money. And I also want to mention care, because a big part of the impact of our wardrobe comes from how we care for our clothes. And for example, using hot water and hot dryers not only wastes a ton of energy, but also is really hard on our clothes. And caring for our clothes in a way that helps them last a long time makes them a better investment, and also really reduces the impact of our wardrobes if we don't need to replace them all the time. So that's another way to have a conscious wardrobe without spending a lot of money. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, or if you have any other tips on building a sustainable wardrobe on a budget. Thank you for watching, and thank you so much to those of you supporting me on Patreon, and I will see you in the next one.